What is up, everybody? My name is Anthony, aka Tone114, and I am bringing you my Week 1 match of Season 2 of the IBL, or the International Battling League, going up against brackets. Now, it's one thing that I had to face such a formidable guy in brackets who just so happened to be the recent champion of Season 1 of the IBL, but he had a truly scary team right off the bat, and he's also in the same division as me, so I had to face him again after this battle, which was not fun at all to prepare for, but it was an incredibly fun match nonetheless. As you see, my team, I am bringing a team of M-Manectric, Sneasel, Donphan, Delphox, Manaphy, and Escavalier, and my opponent is bringing a team of Blissey, Cryogonal, Skarmory, Reuniclus, Swellow, and M-Altaria. If you're wondering about my sets, or why I'm bringing what I'm bringing, I'll leave a paste bin in the description down below. I'll also leave in the description my team of 11 and my opponent's team of 11, so you have a good idea of what our full team is as to why I brought the 6 Pokemon I did. Feel free to leave any comments as to any mons I could have brought differently and what sets you would have suggested. I'm all for different ideas. So without further ado, I'm going to start the battle. Seeing as though that I predicted most of his team correctly. I did not expect the Cryogonal to come. I did not expect the Swellow to come. I was expecting the Nidoking. I was expecting the Azumarill, which means that my Delphox is going to have slightly less usage because it is running Power of Solar Beam, specifically for the Azumarill, which he did not bring. So my Delphox is going to have a little bit less usage. At the same time, my Delphox and my Manaphy are my only two things that I have I can break down SkarmBliss. And if that wasn't bad enough, I had to break down such a defensive core. I was having to deal with potential Calm Mind Reuniclus, this Fastmon and Swellow, and a potential physical Dragon Dance M-Altaria, but I didn't want to rule out Special Altaria. As for his leads, I was expecting him to lead off with Skarmory, and the fact that he had no electric immunity, his resistance to electric is his M-Altaria, and his switch into my M-Manectric is his Blissey, which I can freely volt switch on into either my Donphan, my Sneasel, or my Escavalier. So I further am just going to lead off with my M-Manectric here as I start the battle. So we got bracket issuing that challenge. I'm going to lead off with Usain Jolt, my M-Manectric, as he ends up leading off with Cloudy, his Altaria. So we're just going to get off our Mega Evolutions here. At the same time, I didn't want to rule out Special M-Altaria. I was hoping he was physical, because physical M-Altaria was a lot easier to deal with than Special. Nevertheless, I'm just going to go for my Volt Switch here and try to switch out into an appropriate Mon. At the same time, since I'm faster, I couldn't scout his moveset. So I'm just going to go for the Volt Switch here and hope for the best that he is physical M-Altaria here. So get the Volt Switch off. M-Manectric returns, and I decided to go out into my Donphan here, hoping he was physical. He just goes for the return. He has Hyper Voice, so he is Special M-Altaria, which I feared because I just sacked off my Donphan for no reason. I just go for Ice Charge and chip damage. I didn't go into Delphox because I thought he'd be like a mixed M-Altaria with Earthquake instead of Flamethrower, and I didn't want to take that chance, so I just went for Ice Shard, and I sacked off my Donphan. But with that, I get a free switch into my Ignatius. I'm going to go directly for the Iron Head here. I didn't care if the Skarmory came in. I could have predicted it, but I didn't want to. I just went for the Iron Head. So Iron Head is going to do not that much damage as he goes for the Toxic here, predicting me to switch out because Escavalier can't beat Skarmory 1v1. I'm just going to knock all this item, which turned out to be the Safety Goggles, which was a great bring as I do have Breloom in the back, so when we're fully countered by Breloom, he goes for Toxic again, predicted me to switch. I'm going to go for a Drill and predicting him to roost this turn. Doesn't happen. He goes for Drill Peck. I just going to continually go for Iron Head and force him to roost. So he finally roosts this turn, and I finally predicted, and I'm going for Drill Run on the roost just to gauge to see how much damage this Drill Run does. And it's did about 30-35%. Now I decided to switch out, and I hope and pray he went for Drill Peck again and not go for Toxic. I go into M-Manectric this turn. get the Intimidate off, and then he goes for the Toxic, and he lands it. So now my Mega Manectric is now on a timer. I didn't really have a choice. I could have switched to Manectric a lot sooner on the Roost, but I didn't want to take that chance. So now he's going to withdraw the Skarmory here. And he's going to go out into his Mega Altaria here. And I'm just going to Volt Switch no matter what happens. And get my Volt Switch off. It's now around half. And now Mega Altaria is definitely within range of my Adamant Choice Scarf Sneasel's Icicle Crash. So I'm going to go directly out into my Sneasel here. I have no reason not to click Icicle Crash. Even if he's switching in Cryogonal, if Cryogonal was offensive, it's 2-hit KO by Icicle Crash because it does 52% minimum. So he just decided to sack off Mega Altaria here, and now we're back to a 5-5 game. So now he goes out into Swellow here with Kamikaze, and he decides to pull a double switch to determine to see if I was indeed Scarf Sneasel. So as he goes out into his Skarmory here, I'm going to go for Icicle Crash regardless. I connect the Icicle Crash, I don't care, I'm just going for damage at this point, and I get a crit. Now, I knew I want to get another crit, and I didn't want to risk a 30% flinch chance, because I might not get it, so I just make the safe play into my Delphox this turn as he goes for the Roost, which was a great play on his part, as he really had nothing to lose but his Skarmory, and I didn't want to risk not knocking out the Skarmory, so I'm going to predict him to go out into his Blissey as I go for the Side Shock this time. So, get the prediction right, go for the Side Shock, and it does roughly 30%, so it's about a 4-hit KO after leftovers recovery. And my thought process here is I'm just going to keep clicking Side Shock because I want this thing as low as possible to the point where I'm forcing him to softball this turn. But he decides to get up his Stealth Rocks this turn. I'm like, okay, I just lost my Donphan, so I can't get rid of him. So, covers with the leftovers. I'm just going to continuously click Side Shock as he doesn't really have any switching. And switching to Side Shock is ridiculous. But doesn't want to take a Fire Blast afterwards. Almost get the kill on the Blissey that turn. But I missed out to go for the softball. So, I'm still clicking. I'm still thinking in the back of my mind, I want to keep this thing low. I want to be at the point where I can get a free switch in. I want to force him to softball as I get a free switch in back into my Escavalier as I go for try to do as much damage as possible to his Blissey. And he goes for the Seismic Toss this turn, so which was a good play. So it takes 50 HP. So now I'm going to predict him to go back into his Skarmory here. So I'm predicting him to go into Skarmory, and I'm going to pull a double switch myself into my Mega Manectric. In comes the Skarmory, as I thought. I'm going to pull back my Escavalier. I'm going into Usain Jolt on the double switch. And now I'm just going to click Volt Switch again because I didn't want to keep my momentum. And at the same time, I really do hate the fact that my team, I didn't bring rocks on my Donphan. I did not, I wanted to fit rocks, but at the same time, I thought the coverage was better, so it comes to Blissey again. I go for the Volt Switch. I know it's not going to do jack to this thing. So, get the Volt Switch off, and now I decide that I'm going to go directly out into my Manaphy, because I'm sick of messing around with the SkarmBliss. I need to break it down the worst way possible. And I figured that I can take 3 Seismic Tosses from the Blissey. I can fully set up a tail. So that was my thought process heading into this Manaphy versus Blissey battle. So I go for the Tail Glow here. So now I'm at +3, and I'm like, okay, he's just gonna go for Seismic Toss. He has nothing else I can hit him with. And then I see Thunderbolt, so I'm like, oh, great. So that was a very great ring on Bracket's part to put Thunderbolt Blissey just for my Manaphy. Gotta give him props there. So I figured, okay, since he has Thunderbolt here, it does more than Seismic Toss. I don't want to just gauge to see how much a +3 Scald will do to this Blissey, and it does about 30%. I'm like, my god, you're too fat, Blissey. So, he goes for Thunderbolt again. Don't get the para, but it's whittling down my Manaphy. I can't do anything about it. I lost my Spinner. And then I'm like, okay, now he's at a point where he has to softball again. So, I'm going to take the opportunity. I'm going to go for Tail Roll again. I'm going to get the +6. I need this Blissey weakened. I would essentially like it gone, but I can't take that risk. So this turn he goes for the softball here. I could have risked going into scalding that turn, but I didn't want to miss out on the KO, which I most likely would have. So I'm restoring leftovers, and now I want to gauge to see how much a +6 scald will do to a Blissey. But instead of staying in, he decides to withdraw the Blissey, and he goes out into his Cryogonal this turn. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, this Cryogonal is not taking a +6 scald. Okay, so and it turns out it was a smart sack here because he needed Blissey healthy. And with Cryogonal not doing anything in this battle, it also gives me a free switch into a Swellow. And Swellow outspeeds, and a Brave Bird takes out my Manaphy, so I'm forced to switch out. So I go out into my Escavalier because Escavalier wasn't doing anything else in this battle. It was already weakened to the point where it couldn't take any hit, so I decided to sack off Escavalier this turn to the Brave Bird. So down goes my Escavalier to the Swellow, but with my Escavalier gone, I get a free switch in to my Usain Jolt as the Toxic Orb activates. I know my M-Manectric is faster than this Swellow because I put enough speed to outspeed his Swellow, which is his fastest Pokemon, and I freely get a Volt Switch off. And I know he's not staying in. He's going to go directly back into that Blissey. So now with that being said, I'm just going to get the Volt Switch off again. And I'm going to go right back into my Manaphy this turn. Because like I said, I needed this thing weakened immensely. Oh, I went to Delphox. Okay. I went to Delphox this turn. I remember, I got the order. But nevertheless, I went to Delphox this turn for one specific reason. I needed to take those leftovers away. So this turn I went for Solar Beam. It might seem like a dumb play at this point to go for Solar Beam on a fat model like Blissey, but the reason I went for Solar Beam is for two reasons. One, Solar Beam was useless without his Azumarill. It was the only thing I brought. Solar Beam was there specifically for the Azumarill, and I decided I needed to take away those leftovers from Blissey. So I use my power, take his leftovers, I get past the recovery, he's forced to softball. So now I get to freely click Side Shock this turn, as he actually pulls a switch. He pulls out and switches out into his Swellow this turn. So I get off a free Side Shock, so I'm hoping it would kill this turn, and unfortunately it just misses out. And after the leftover recovery and the Toxic Orb damage, Delphox is going to die to a Brave Bird, and I needed my Delphox for the Skarmory and the Blissey. So I decided to go into my M-Manectric this turn because it's not really doing anything else this battle, simply because it's poison, it's taking Stealth Rock damage, and the mons that are left on his team I can beat with Delphox plus Manaphy. He goes for the quick attack this turn, and he gets an unfortunate crit. So now my M-Manectric is going to drop to the poison damage, so that's a kill for a Skarmory. And Skarmory is now going to drop to... Swellow is now going to drop to the Toxic Orb damage. So we both get free switches this turn. I decided that I'm going to go out into my Manaphy because it is the one thing I just need to get one more Tail Glow, and he goes out into his Blissey. The one thing I was hoping he wouldn't go out into, he does go out into. So I'm going to get a Tail Glow off one more time because I know my Manaphy can take one Thunderbolt. And if I don't get paralyzed with this Thunderbolt, I can get off a good chunk of damage on this Blissey with a Scald. So I live on 19 HP, get the leftovers recovery. I know it's not going to matter. So now I really gotta weaken this thing and get into a range of a +3 Scald. I go for the Scald this turn. It's always a good thing I have to hit it. I also get the Burn, which doesn't matter because I have Natural Cure. Goes with Thunderbolt and takes out my Manaphy. But it's good enough for me because the damage was enough to the point where I can now go out into my Sneasel this turn, and the combination of burn damage plus Icicle Crash takes out this Blissey. At the same time, I know he has that Skarmory in the back, and he has no reason not to go to Skarmory. At the same time, I have no reason not to click Icicle Crash because the only thing I need to do is weaken the Skarmory for my Delphox. I unfortunately missed the first Icicle Crash. I don't think it would have mattered. But the extra damage would have been nice. He goes for the Ice Crash a second time, all I just need is damage because Fire Blast takes out the Skarmory. I believe Delphox can take out the Blissey with the Psyshock, and Reuniclus is another issue now. So now I'm just going for damage on this Skarmory here. He goes for Drill Peck the second time, and the second Drill Peck takes out my Sneasel. So now it's just down to my Delphox against Skarmory, Blissey, and a healthy Reuniclus, which hasn't even seen the field yet. So in comes my Delphox, takes a Stealth Rock damage. He stays in, I go for Fire Blast. Skarmory has no more use in this battle because all my physical attackers are gone. So he lets the Skarmory drop this turn. So now it's looking like a more manageable 1v2 matchup, as all he has left is the Blissey and the Reuniclus. So now he goes out into the Reuniclus, and depending on his range, if it's not Assault Vest, then I can potentially 2 KO with a Fire Blast. I hit the Fire Blast, he goes for Trick Room, and I'm like, okay, now I definitely lost. This Reuniclus is going to now hit me with a Shadow Ball. I'm pretty sure he should have Shadow Balled me before. It turns out after the battle that he never even had Shadow Ball in the first place. So he goes for the Psyshock here, and before this I thought he was just trying to style on me to assert dominance, but Delphox shows the resilience and lives on 5 HP. And now I go for the Fire Blast, take out the Reuniclus. There's nothing much I can do here as I go for... There's nothing much else I can do here other than go for Fire Blast. I take out the Reuniclus, and then last Pokemon is Blissey. Trick Room is still up for 2 more turns, and then Blissey unfortunately takes out my Delphox with Cycle Toss. So it ends up being a 1-0 victory to brackets. So still a solid game nonetheless. I apologize for the video freezing here at the end, simply because oh man, the video froze. But anyway, that's basically how it would have went down. Even if Delphox lived on 5 HP, and then it took out the Reuniclus with a Fire Blast, and then Blissey came in and Seismic tossed the Delphox, and that was game. It was a 1-0 loss to me. So very good prep by brackets. It was a very fun match. It was a lot closer than I thought it would be, but nonetheless, it was a great battle. I didn't start the season the way I wanted to, but nevertheless, I will bounce back next week, and hopefully the video won't freeze this time. But with all that being said, though, I can't really complain either way about how I played in this match. I thought that it turns out that at the end of the battle, we were discussing the whole if Reuniclus was in Trick Room scenario, that Blissey was actually in range of Psyshock from my Delphox. So if the Trick Room wasn't up, then I actually would have won, potentially won 1-0, but I still played pretty well despite the despite some slight hacks, but it was kind of irrelevant because it didn't really matter in the end result of the battle because he did a great job with the SkarmBliss core. He saved the Reuniclus with the Trick Room late game at the end, so props to brackets, 100% deserved that win. So I will bounce back next week. It's going to be a very hectic season, I tell you that. And once again, I'm very sorry for the video freezing at the end. I will try to fix that issue next time for the next battle. But until the next time, my name is Anthony, aka Tone4, and I'm gonna catch you guys on the flip side. Later!